Hi, my name is Eve Ma, and I'm a writer. To my knowledge, I have had only one book pirated, and that was one of the scholarly books. And it was about Chinese in the United States during the Chinese Revolution of 1911. And it was translated into Chinese by a publisher in China and printed there, published there, without my knowledge and without, of course, since I didn't know about it, without paying me any money. The thought of hiring an international lawyer and starting a lawsuit in China or in an international court of law just was a little daunting, and so I said, well, at least a lot of people in China are reading it. It's important. If you're a writer, if you're a filmmaker, if you're a musician, it's important to get whatever money is due to the author. The author needs that money. If you take somebody else's work and make money off of it, you're really hurting the very thing that you like, and I think it's a real shame. Then there's always the question as to what should be done about book piracy or any other form of piracy of other people's creations. I do think that if you find somebody that's pirating something, that first of all they should be required to pay back any money that they made to the person who created it. I think that there should be some possibility of additional damages. I don't believe in these, $2 billion mental stress, damages or that type of thing, but some kind of additional damages.
My name is Jennifer Joseph. The name of my company is Manic D Press. I'm the publisher. Manic D has been around since 1984 and publishes works of poetry, fiction, nonfiction, creative nonfiction, art books, children's books, travel books, very eclectic mix. At our distributors sales conference recently, they offered to the publishers a chance to sign up with a company that would it would be a year-long contract where the company searches for titles that are being pirated and would send takedown notices on your behalf. And that sparked an interest for me, so I just Googled some of our more popular titles and discovered that they were pirated on multiple websites. The game of whack-a-mole, trying, as soon as you take down one site, something else pops up. And it's really a full-time job chasing the, digitization of your books around, trying to stop that. And so it's a distraction. I think that everything should be free to a certain extent. However, if people are trying to keep a roof over their head and are doing the work, it's not just a hobby. They've reached a certain level where enough people agree that their work is good, so that everybody can be an author, but not everybody's going to agree that their work is good. I think that most people are sending out takedown notices with varying degrees of success. Everybody agrees that it's a very time-consuming thing. Other people don't mind because they feel like maybe somebody will discover somebody's works, and say an author has published 3 or 5 books. If they discover one book through an illegal download, maybe they'll seek out other titles by the same author. One of the situations that a lot of times that technical people talk about is digital rights management, also called DRM, so that something can't be shared. It's like one book for one device. But then there's all these complications, If somebody passes on and they have a library of print books, they can be inherited by a relative or, something like that. If somebody passes on and you don't have the password and username for their electronic device, their entire library is gone. People who think that music should be free and that well-known bands like Metallica should just be giving away their music, you know, without thinking that it costs money to have studio time. The instruments cost money. You know, the engineers need to be paid. You know, when it comes to publishing, it's the same thing. I always have to explain to my authors, yes, your name is on the book and your writing, you know, is in the book. But there's 1,000 people in the background helping you find a readership. You know, the guy who's packing the boxes at the warehouse, the guy who's unpacking the boxes at the bookstore, the guy who's delivering the boxes, you know, the people, the distributors who create the catalogs, the salespeople who go out and pitch your book to the bookstores. And there's so many people involved. And you have to remember them, and you have to, you know, be grateful that you've had this opportunity to have this huge amount of people behind you to get your work out into the world.
My name is Maria D'Angelo, and I'm legal director of Wiley. I also manage Wiley's intellectual property protection program. Wiley has 3 core businesses: global education, global research, and professional development. We have a thriving digital business, and we're a global business. Well, we are committed to continuing to combat online piracy. Wiley has a history of over 200 years of publishing. We have published hundreds of thousands of books, including the works of over 400 Nobel laureates. Our content is valuable to us, and we will continue to enforce and protect Wiley's intellectual property vigorously, because in our business, it is important that creators are compensated. So piracy has an impact on the business because it makes it impossible for anyone who contributes to the creation of content to be paid for their work. If they're not paid, innovation and creativity will necessarily suffer. It's important to remember that copyright rights are derived from the U.S. Constitution, and the Constitution provides that individuals and innovators, artists and creators, are rewarded for creating works through economic incentives. When those economic incentives are taken away, creativity and innovation will necessarily suffer. We believe that technological measures could be used to stop infringement before it occurs. These technological measures are not expensive and can be adopted more widely. We've brought a lawsuit in Germany where the courts are quite receptive to protecting intellectual property, and we've been successful. A group of publishers brought that suit several years ago. It was against a large site called RapidShare, and the highest court in Germany recently affirmed the decision in the lower courts, and RapidShare is now required to adopt the kind of technical measures I was speaking about. Online piracy causes significant damage to everyone in the chain of creativity by depriving creators of the fruits of their work. So the damage is to everyone in the value chain of creativity. And as a result, our culture may suffer. What would the world be like without great books, music, other creative works if economic incentives are taken away from creators? We are aware that Congress is looking at potentially revising copyright law. We are working with Congress to participate in this revision process. We would like to see Congress establish stronger laws that include technological measures that will prevent piracy before it happens. The U.S. government could be particularly helpful in vigorously supporting and providing tools to prevent access to the web for piracy sites, and in starving pirate sites of ad revenue and other income sources which they may use to sustain piracy.